It's kind of crazy how much attention the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting right now, you know? Like, all of a sudden, everyone's talking about them this offseason. I wouldn't have predicted that.
It is kind of wild, yeah. They've really become the center of the NFL universe lately. And that's why we do these deep dives, right? So we can dig into the stuff that you guys find interesting and really try to understand what's going on.
Exactly. You send us the sources, and we go all in trying to figure out what it all means.
Mhm.
And right now, the biggest thing everyone's talking about is, of course, Aaron Rodgers potentially going to the Steelers. It seems like all of this talk really exploded after the NFL owners' meetings a couple weeks back.
Yeah, the owners' meetings definitely threw some fuel on the fire. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Our main source this time is a transcript from a YouTube video. It's a breakdown of some comments that Mike Tomlin made at the owners' meetings.
Mike Tomlin being the Steelers head coach, of course.
Exactly. He's a pretty tight-lipped guy in general, so whenever he speaks, people listen.
For sure. So our goal for this deep dive is to break down exactly what Tomlin said about Aaron Rodgers and what it all might mean for the Steelers.
Right. We're going to try to read between the lines and see if we can figure out what the Steelers' plan is. And a big part of this video focuses on Tomlin's conversation with Brooke Pryor.
Who is a Steelers reporter?
Yeah, she covers the team for ESPN. And she tweeted out some really interesting quotes from Tomlin about the whole Rodgers situation.
The first one that caught my eye was, Mike Tomlin has no definitive update or timeline on Aaron Rodgers. He says they're still evaluating potential acquisitions at the position and doing their due diligence. Which, at first glance, seems pretty standard, right? Like any team would say that.
Totally. It's like Coach Speak 101. But then you get to the next quote and things get a little more interesting. Pryor tweeted, they had a really good day with Rodgers on his visit to Pittsburgh, got to know him better. So it sounds like it wasn't just a quick meet and greet.
Yeah, that makes it sound like they really spent some time together. Maybe they connected on a personal level. And then there's this quote from Tomlin where he says, there was no internal Steelers deadline on a Rodgers decision to my knowledge.
Right. And this is where the guy in the YouTube video starts to read into things a bit. He basically says that this lack of a deadline suggests that the Steelers are pretty confident that Rodgers is going to sign with them.
It's like maybe they know something we don't. Like maybe they have a good feeling about where Rodgers' head is at.
Yeah, maybe Tomlin got some kind of vibe from Rodgers during their meeting that made him think, okay, we don't need to rush this. We can give him some space.
Interesting. So, like, do they have some sort of inside information? Or maybe that meeting went so well they feel like they're in the driver's seat?
It's a good question. What do they know that we don't? And then there's this other quote from Tomlin where he talks about the importance of the quarterback position. Brooke Pryor tweeted it as, line of demarcation for an incomplete QB position to hinder team development and training camp. Tomlin said the spring is about teaching and growing. I mean, he's acknowledging that not having a settled quarterback situation could really hurt the team.
Right. He's saying they need to have that position figured out so the team can move forward. But then again, he doesn't seem to be freaking out about it.
Exactly. So it's kind of a contradiction. On the one hand, he's saying the quarterback position is super important. But on the other hand, he's not acting like it's a huge emergency.
Right. It's weird. And the last quote that the YouTube video highlights is this one where Tomlin talks about his approach to the meeting with Rodgers. He said, I really wanted to spend more of our time just getting to know him better and things that he values as a player and as a man and what he might be looking for with his next stop.
It's interesting that he took that approach. Instead of just talking about football and trying to sell Rodgers on the Steelers, he wanted to build a personal connection.
Yeah, like he wanted to understand Rodgers on a deeper level. Which, I mean, with a guy like Rodgers who's achieved so much, that might be the best strategy. He's probably not looking for someone to just tell him how great he is.
Right. He's probably more interested in finding a place where he feels comfortable and respected. So yeah, maybe Tomlin played it smart by taking that approach.
Okay, so the main takeaway from the YouTube video is that the speaker thinks Tomlin is pretty confident that they're going to get Rodgers. Like they think the meeting must have been a huge success and that Tomlin walked away feeling really good about their chances.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe I got from the video too. But the thing is, nothing is official yet. Rodgers hasn't signed anything.
Yeah, exactly. The host of the video makes a really good point. Rodgers hasn't made any kind of commitment. He could still decide to go somewhere else. Or he could even retire. You never know with this guy.
Totally. And let's not forget, right now, the Steelers' starting quarterback is Mason Rudolph. That's their current situation.
Which is Not exactly ideal.
Not really, and that's what leads to the next question that the video explores. Why aren't the Steelers more concerned about this? Like, why aren't they showing more urgency when it comes to the most important position in football?
Yeah, it's a valid question. And the video goes on to talk about how the Steelers' quarterback play has been a problem for a while now.
Yeah, they point to the fact that over the last 5 seasons, the Steelers have ranked 24th in QBR, 24th in points scored, and 22nd in passing touchdowns. Those are not the numbers of a team that's competing for championships.
Not at all.
Ah.
And the host of the video makes this really interesting point about how the Steelers might be clinging to this outdated way of thinking about football.
Right. They argue that in today's NFL, where the rules favor offenses and there are so many talented quarterbacks, you absolutely need to have elite quarterback play if you want to win consistently.
Yeah, it's not like the old days where you could just grind out wins with a strong defense and a decent running game. You need a quarterback who can make plays and put up points.
Totally. And the video really drives that point home by reminding us that it's been a long time since the Steelers have had any real success in the playoffs. I mean, think about it. It's been 3 presidential inaugurations since they last won a playoff game. That's a pretty long drought.
Yeah, it really emphasizes how much they need to shake things up. And the video goes on to talk about the NFL draft. Like, maybe the Steelers are so relaxed about Rodgers because they feel confident they can draft a good quarterback this year.
Yeah, they have the 21st pick in the draft, so maybe they think they can find their quarterback of the future there. But the video host is pretty skeptical about that.
Yeah, he brings up a good point. How can they be so sure that other teams who need a quarterback won't try to draft those same guys?
Yeah.
Like, what if the quarterbacks they like are all gone by the time they pick at 21?
Exactly. And he uses Kenny Pickett as an example. Pickett was drafted by the Steelers a few years ago, but a lot of people thought they reached for him, and now, just a few years later, he's already on his second team.
Yeah, that's not a good sign. So the video host is basically saying that the Steelers should be more aggressive. Like, maybe they should try to trade up in the draft to get a quarterback they really want.
Yeah, instead of just hoping that Rodgers will sign with them or that they'll find a good quarterback at 21. And he even says that if the Steelers wait on Rodgers and he ends up going somewhere else, it could be a huge mistake. Like, he calls it an all-time fumble.
Ouch. So is it worth the risk? Like,
Yeah.
are the Steelers putting all their eggs in one basket and hoping for the best? I mean, Rodgers is 42 years old, and he could change his mind at any moment.
Right. They're basically putting their fate in the hands of a guy who's known for being unpredictable. But the video does give the Steelers some credit. They acknowledge that the organization has been really successful over the years. They have stable ownership. They've made good coaching hires. They usually have a strong defense.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about the Steelers. And I think the video host wants to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right, but they make this really important distinction. They say that even though the Steelers have a great track record, they've kind of lost that benefit of the doubt when it comes to the quarterback position.
Yeah, because their quarterback play has been so inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 years.
Exactly. And they say that if Rodgers doesn't sign with the Steelers and they don't have a clear backup plan, it's going to be a really bad look for them.
So basically, we're back to this central question.
Hmm.
Are the Steelers really confident they're going to get Rodgers? Or are they just being naive? Like, are they putting too much faith in him?
And that's a question only they can answer. But it's something for all of us to think about as we watch this whole thing unfold.
Totally. So what do you think? Taking everything we've talked about into account, what do you think the most likely outcome is? And what should the Steelers' backup plan be if Rodgers doesn't sign with them?
I think those are great questions for everyone listening to consider, because the whole situation really highlights how delicate the balance between patience and being proactive can be when you're building an NFL team.
For sure. It's a fascinating case study, and we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on it.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
We'll see you next time.